So this is a tablecloth that I bought a couple of weeks ago. It's telling me it wants to be a coat. So what I do is I fold it in half and then half again. And I usually do this in the store already to get some as to what I might be able to do with it. So this is the part that is center front and center back, and you can see it's wide enough to be a long sleeve something, and actually I can't see it, but it's down to my knees. There was a hem, and I removed the hem. I unpicked the hem and searched the edge. I have washed it. It is dried. I usually iron everything, but this, it's kind of waffly, and I want it to stay waffly, and you know, so I didn't iron this one, and it's kind of stiff-ish, which I believe will make a really nice summer coat, possibly with a hood and big pockets. So I will put it on my big table here and go from there. So it is quite important that the upper area here and the side, this part of the sleeve thing, that it's sort of even, because you want the sleeves to be the same length, and you really want it to lay nice and even up here, and then you can just smooth it out. And this is obviously the hem area, and I will be using this whole piece without cutting anything off. So you want it to lay, I won't be cutting anything off in this direction, so you want it to lay nice, so you have an even hem in the end. So being me, I like to use things that I already made. So I will be using two of these actually. The little yellow dress won't be working for this, but I did make a coat from a tablecloth a couple of years ago now for a wedding, and I really like how it turned out. So I will be laying that onto here. Try to line up the top and the front and the sides, and I will be doing that off camera. So the coat is on. Now, because this is a damask woven fabric, there's a pattern in it, and I wanted to keep that, which is why this looks like it's dipping out here, but it's really only not curved while I cut it. And I don't want this for this coat, so I have this dress I made sometime, which I know is roomy, and I'm just laying that on top, lining up the top of the shoulder and the center front / center back, like so. I have my pattern weight. I don't know what it is. Anyway, just line it up, and you can see I will still want a nice wide sleeve because I like puffy sleeves and I want them to fit in the coat without being squished. So I will be using this line because this is the arm whole area, and I think this fabric will hang very nicely without this curve in for the waist. So this is just cut straight. I will be doing that on this gorgeous fabric too. So I will be obviously adding some seam allowance, cutting it right there, and down here I will be using this curve here because I don't want this. It does, when you're wearing it, it looks like it's dipping down. So cutting, I mean, if you want, you can draw lines and things. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And I want the cut off pieces to be as big as possible because I think I want to put a hood on. So we'll start down here and just add some for a turned up hem or whatever, trying to use as much of the existing fabric as we can. So with this line here, I'm eyeballing, obviously. No, I think just a little more. I always try to use about 1 centimeter seam allowance. Because that is very easy on my machine. I mean, cutting through 4 layers of fabric at the same time, it can be quite tough, I have to say. There. So we now have the body of the coat to be and the cutoffs. Like I said, I'll be wanting a hood on this. I have made myself a little pattern for a hood, and maybe I can fit that onto here somehow. I'm thinking like so, because I just made a hoodie last week, and I used this pattern here, and obviously a hoodie, I made it in a stretchy fabric, but the curve is puckering weirdly. So I'm thinking about making this curve not quite as dramatic. So I think I will be all right. Obviously I will be needing 2 pieces for that. So then we have this 2 pieces left. I think I do want humongous pockets on the outside. So yeah, I will serge all the way around. After, actually, there's one more thing I need to do, because this is a coat. I need to cut it open. I'll be right back. So I said I wouldn't iron it, and I won't. I won't iron the whole piece, but I will iron this fold here. To make a crease, obviously, so that I know where to cut. And because I am so round on the front, I will be making this slightly longer in front. If you see here, there are one side that is a centimeter shorter. I will make that the back, because I'm flat in the back, but I'm not on the front. So I will be making sure to use the longer half on the front side, so as to make it appear as it is more even all the way around, right? So we make a crease. I do still love my new iron. And a piece of wood to lay on there and just make a nice crease. So there's a crease now, so we can unfold it. See, nice and creasy. So this side is the shorter one, so I'm gonna flip it like so. Make sure it's all lined up on the sides, and we get to cutting in the crease. So, and up here, of course, we need a hole for the head. And if you've been watching, you know I have some templates for that too. I'm thinking I won't want any closures on this, so it will be an open coat, and I'm going to use the template for the smallest possible. I'm missing one. Anyway, the smallest possible, that will be open in front this time. Ah, there it is. So we line it up. We have a crease here, which would be the shoulder seam if there was one. So we line up. Okay, it's a template, right? You have to have some part rounded out in the back. And I can also fold it this way. So, you know, most of the time I cut it out with the fabric laying flat like this. But I can also fold it lengthways and just do that. Anyway, so we have a crease that way and one crease that way, and we try to line it up. And my heavy thing, and we get to cutting. There you go. So now all the cutting is done. I will serge all the way around. Except for this, which would be the sleeve hem. Anyway, if you don't have a serger, choose a zigzag. So I finished all the serging. The light in my machine died. We'll try to figure out how to exchange that. I will go on to the pockets. So for the pockets, I want obviously my phone to fit. Both this way and that way, so maybe I won't have to cut that much of this paper. I'm gonna fold in the seam allowance to start with. So roughly 1 centimeter all the way around, or whatever you want, you know, but don't forget it. So, well, it still fits both ways. So, and then we want to of seam allowance on that. What is this? Centimeters and inches. Let me see. It is 16.5 centimeters. So we want 17 and then some. So what I'm adding to 19, let's just make that an even 20 centimeters. I wonder where my other little ruler is. So 20 centimeters should fit 20 centimeters plus the one there, so that would be 21. And I have my trusty level that I used to make to draw straight lines on the shorter side. I have this one for really long straight lines. Anyway, scissors. Not my fabric scissors. So this is the pocket, right? And you fold it down on the top too, where it's open. So you put your phone in there. Yes? So I need two, obviously. And as always, I try to always you cut off as the smallest piece possible. We're going to try to line these up. So we unfold it. And here you can very clearly see that you shouldn't trust the squares, the pattern lines, because this edge here, the selvage edge, is a little bubbly. I mean, I washed it. I didn't iron it. But if I'm thinking with the level, right, this is a 90-degree angle. I line this up with the selvage edge. There should be a straight line here, but no, it's all wonky. We'll have to work around that. I do want to use the selvage edge. So we line it up. We put the heavy thing on. And fabric scissors. And we cut. there. So that's the pocket, and we have the hood. Try to line up these pieces too. And I am using the salvage edge. I'm thinking to be the folded in edge around the face. So this straight-ish line would go there. I'm actually going to make it straight because I don't want to cut there. Right, so, and like I said, this curve right here shouldn't be quite so curvy. So the heavy thing, and I made this little pattern piece with the similans on it already. So I like hoods. I've made several hoods. And when I took the pattern for this hood or for my son's hoodies, I asked him which hood he liked the best, and he said, I like this one best. And why? I said, he couldn't really answer, but it seems it fit his head best. So now I'm just gonna remove the pattern piece because I don't want to cut into this Swedish paper with my fabric scissors, and just sort of even it out a little. So I think I have all my pieces. The pockets, the hood, the actual big piece is over on my list. You can see the coat thing there. Sleeves, the front, hood. So I serged around the edges of the pockets and the hood. So now we will sew these together to make a hood. I keep looking at these, both sides of this fabric. I can't, I don't see a difference. So I'm just gonna, where are my pins? It's, this fabric is sort of stiffish, sturdy, so I don't need to pin all that much, but some. Just make sure they line up, and some pins and then I'm going to sew it with 1 centimeter seam allowance on my machine. Let me see. So this is my machine, the pink Toyota. I still have the thread and the needle from my last project in, and that was stretchy fabric, so I have to change the needle. I have my old one here. Like I said, this fabric is quite sturdy, so I know my machine handles sturdy and thick. It's never been a problem, but maybe your machine does have a problem with it, so we choose a thread. How about this nice orange? Or yeah, I think the nice orange will do. Yes, this knob here doesn't stay put, so I have to use some tape. I mean, the machine is at least 30 years old. I had it on a service a couple of years ago, and I asked her to see if she could fix it, but she couldn't. So 1 centimeter seam allowance, and let's get to sewing. So I sewed it, and I usually like to press them to one side and sew it down. I'm going to do that on this project too, and I know, I'm well aware, it will show inside the hood. I don't care. So this is a rounded shape. I should do this on a rounded shape. I haven't gotten around to making a tailor's ham yet. I've been planning to make one of those for years now, but I haven't gotten around to it. So we make do. And while I'm here, I'm going to iron in the salvage edge, this pucker part. Except for right here, of course, because I have to sew that first and then sew that. So and the pockets. I do intend to use the salvage as the top part where I just sew it down. So I'm just going to iron that in. So I have both pockets here. I folded down the edge and I ironed it down. And I'm going to really steam that. And I'm going to put my, oh, what are these called? My piece of wood. And let that sit. So now for I usually use a little bit longer stitches for the sewing down of the seam, felling, whatever you call it. So that's done, and then it's for the edge that it's around the face. I ironed it except for this part right here. So I'm just gonna tuck the ends of the threads in here and hold it down with one of them little clips, and then I'm just gonna sew it closer to this edge. Try to make it look nice. And that's the hood done. Let me see about the pockets. Just gonna do that same thing. Sew it closer to the edge of the selvage there. So next I will be ironing in the seam allowance on the remaining 3 sides of the pocket. So this is the edge that's sewn down, and I'm going to iron in the other edges like so. So these are them. I want to give them a really good press, because that will make it easier to actually sew them onto the coat, which is actually the next step. I'm just gonna try on the to find the height. So obviously I haven't sewed this yet, and it will be easier to sew the pockets on before I actually sew it up. So let's see. We have a pocket. I don't want to reach down. I want to be fairly straight. So somewhere around here. Just gonna pin that on without stabbing myself in the hip, and then sort of align it with the lines. So I just spread it out here, and I'm just gonna I think this will be excellent. Actually, I'll pin that on. So over here, I'm a little more than one I swear to God, I hate ruined menopause. I can't remember words. And it's not just English words, it's Swedish words. There's an orange stripe out here that is full. And then there's a red stripe that is not full. I'm going to try to find the same position on this side. So we have one full orange stripe and about half of the red stripe. Something like so, I think. A couple of pins to make them stay. And then actually just a couple of pins on the corners so that they stay where they are, and I will sew them down with 2 lines all the way around. So I'm just going to start right on the edge on the one corner and sew them all the way around to the other corner and turn around and sew maybe 2-3 millimeters all the way around back to where I started. Now the corners up here, the corners where you put your hands in, it's a bit of a weak spot, and you want to make sure you really make it strong. So I'm going to go forth, go back and forth again, so that it's really, really secure. So I'm back to where I started, only 3 millimeters to the right. So what I'm going to do is go all the way up and then turn over, back and over, and that's when I'm finished. So the pockets are on, and before we move on to attaching the hood, I have to make a decision on how to finish the center front part, because if I'm going to do a hem thing, I need to do that before. If I'm going to put a bias tape on, I need to do that before I put the hood on. So I'm going to break up my ribbon box. So this is my ribbon box. It's on my bias tape I made myself, like this. I have bias tape, I have ribbons, and some velvet ribbon. Actually looking for some sort of bias tape. What do I have? I have an orange. Could work. Pink, not so much. What else do I have here? Oh, I have another orange. Looks even better actually. And some red. That was just a short piece. Green's not going to work. Not brown. Not turquoise. More brown. More brown. More turquoise. More green. And some purple. Some beige. That was pink. This is red. Brown. Well, this one it is. I don't know how much it is. It's thrifted, but we'll make do. I found a roll of yellow. Maybe that would be nice. So this one's just a short piece. That's not going to work. So I have this and this. Orange and yellow. They look the same width. What do you think? I think the yellow. I think the yellow. So, bias tape. Actually don't know how much this is either because I thrifted it, but I'm just going to attach it on the front opening all the way on both sides. Just, you know, how you normally attach the bias tape. So 1,000,000 pins later, it's time to actually sew. And I'm going to change out the orange thread on top for a yellowish one, just because. Because the orange might be seen through here, and I don't want that. So I'm just gonna sew this, blah blah blah, iron, sew again. You know how this works. So I finished the bias tape, and we're moving on to the hood. And it's, you need a center back on the body of the coat. We still have that crease there. And let's see. Here's the hood. Do we need the center back of the hood? That's obviously the seam. Pin them together. Make sure they line up. If they don't, make it work. So there, I finished all the pins, and now we get to sewing. I'm using that 1 centimeter seam allowance again. And I changed to the orange thread again. So it's time to press, and I'm pressing it down towards the body. And then top stitch all the way around. So top stitch, but from the inside, so that I can see where I'm actually stitching. So it's done. Oh, well, the hood is done, and you can see the top stitching all the way around the bias tape. So actually next step is the long seams on the sides. So I'll get to pinning those. So we have the sleeve, we have the armpit, and we have the hem. Try to line those up. Obviously with the pockets on the inside, so that, you know, both sides pin here and there. It doesn't shift around so much. So I've lined up one side, and the armpit area is, well, it's the only troublesome area really. So if you want, because this is, you know, little squares, you can line up the squares so that they meet exactly if you want. So I pinned it on both sides, just here and there, and so now I'm gonna sew it. There, 1 centimeter seam allowance. Yeah, that didn't go so well. Okay, so let's try that again. I made it this far, so I'm just gonna start there again. So I sewed the sides together. So now I'm going to iron it, and I'm going to iron the seam towards the front, and then top stitch. So let's get to top stitch. Now this used to be tablecloth, right? And this particular one didn't have a tag on it, but when I unpick the seams, I saved the tags. This tag is from a red linen tablecloth. I have quite a few of them now, so I keep them. But when I do make something out of a tablecloth or whatever that has a tag, I usually sew it in to the garment, somewhere on the side seam, when I top stitch, because I tend to top stitch basically everything that I do, because I really like super sturdy, very, very, very secure seams, because I don't like busting out of my clothes. So the top stitching is done. So basically the whole construction is finished. You could do a hem. I think by step. And that does need pinning. So I'm going to pin all the way, you know. Pray that I have enough. And I'm going to do that on the sofa in front of some TV show. So 1 million pins later, turns out I had enough for the sleeves. I will be having run out of pins. This much left over. What is that? 10 centimeters? Works out just fine. So, whoa. This is what's left. And the next step here, of course, is to iron it and fold it over, iron it, then sew it, and then it's done. So I finished my summer coat yesterday with a bias tape along the hem and the sleeves. So it's done. Obviously this is a very basic coat. You could line it and do a zipper or big buttons or, you know, whatever. But I set out to make a very basic summer coat, and that's what I did. I like open things. I mean, I have a winter coat, store-bought, that I almost always wear open. It's just, you know, when it's really cold or really windy, when I close it up. Anyway, so you can swish with it, have big pockets, can fit my phone in there, keys, gloves. I'm really happy with it. Happy sewing.